What is up, YouTube? HPJ here, and good day to you all. So, I have another Harpie deck profile, but this Harpie deck profile is not mine. Thank God it isn't, because I'm sure people would be ripping me apart for this. And I honestly want to know what you guys think about it, because I'm going to spend the majority of the video talking about my explanations for why, how I feel about this deck. So, this deck is actually coming from TCGPlayer. This is a build of their variation of Harpies. I want to just state that I will leave the link to it in the description box below, because I'm sure people are going to want to read it. Their quotes to this is that this is the best Harpie deck. Yeah, that's literally what the title says. It says the best Harpie deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm going to stop that right now. There is no such thing as the best deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! In terms of being specifically built for a specific archetype. The reason is because there are so many different variations and builds for it that people test these things out, and people have said, yeah, these cards don't work in this because this is slowing these processes down. This doesn't work in this because the mechanics of this deck don't need this because they do A, B, and C, rather than opposed to you wanting to do A, B, and C with the intentions of doing what these cards do for this deck or to support this without having to do that. If that doesn't make any sense, let's put it this way. You can't call something the best deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because there are so many other builds to it that 9 out of 10 are going to work equally as good, or if not, do better than what you built. Why do I say that? Because if you can look at decks that have topped in events, that topped in circles, you can easily see that, yeah, most of them are sheeped into running the exact same deck. And a lot of them have various builds because they run various things in those builds to sustain their own playstyle. Now, if this is a playstyle thing, that's perfectly fine. But never call something the best deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Without, standing by that, which I'm glad I never, ever said I was running the best deck of anything. And then 2, every build of a deck needs to be tested, and I feel like nothing in this has been tested. It's just more so for show. So I want to explain to you guys with this, and then there's more things that I do want to address with this deck once I get done with it after. So why don't we go ahead and we go into the deck profile itself. And I'm going to leave this actually over there. So, alright, starting off is their monster lineup. So, for their monsters, they've chosen to run 3 copies of Harpie Channeler, 3 copies of Harpie Perfumer, and 3 copies of Harpie's Pet Dragon, Fearsome Fire. For the rest of the Harpies, they're running 2 copies of Harpie Lady 1. Harpie Lady 1. 1 copy each of Harpie Harpist, Harpie Dancer, and Harpie Queen. And they're running 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird. So, yeah, that is it for their spells. No, they're monsters. I'm sorry, I didn't say spells. I said spells, but it was spells. It's supposed to be monsters. Now, that's the monster lineup. Let's move on to the spells. Now, they're running triple copies of Hysteric Sign, 1 copy of Elegant Egotist, 1 copy of Harpie's Hunting Ground, 1 copy of Harpie's Feathered Duster. That is literally all of the spells in relation to Harpie. Now, for all the other spells that they're running, triple copies of Small World and triple copies of Pot of Prosperity. Then 2 Unexpected Dai, and then 1 Call by the Grave. So that's their lineup for their spells. Then we're going to move on to the traps. And their trap lineup is triple copies of Harpie's Feather Storm, triple copies of Hysteric Party, and 2 copies of Trap Trick. Yeah. Alright, and then the extra deck. So, for the extra deck, and there is 1 proxy in here, don't worry, I'll get to it just as soon. Double copies of Cyber / Harpie Lady, one copy of Harpie Conductor, one copy of Helvis Wilbur, the Desperate Doom Eagle, one copy of Appaloosa, the Bow of the Goddess. Now, this is going to be 2 copies of IP Masquerena. One of these IP Masquerena is actually supposed to be the SP, what is her name? SP Sidewalker? I know what I said. SP Little Knight. There we go. So this is actually an SP Little Knight. But I ain't paying over $100 for a monster like that. So, yeah, no. One Nightmare Unicorn of Dinners DXCs of Lightning of, what is it? Harpie Phantasmal Dragon, Lightning Chidori, Icy Zero Fine, Abyss Dweller, Big Eye, Babushka, and Zeus. So that rounds out literally all of the main deck stuff in there. Now, for those who have never been on TCGPlayer, there is a full article for every deck list that they do or every deck list that they recompose, and this one is no exception to it. They of course do mention, the here's and nearest here with Harpie Channeler, Unexpected Dai, setting up for things to IP Masquerena, setting up into the little SP, the different variation of cards you can run in your extra deck and stuff like that. But yeah, Lucas Peterson, yeah, I would definitely just fair warning for you, just don't play Harpies. Just stick to meta, because this does not seem to be your thing. This literally just seems to be an amalgamation of things. And the fact that you even mentioned Ancient Fairy Dragon in GeneX Ally Birdman, those cards have not been relevant in Harpies for years. That's like 2000 and that's like post Harpie Queen, pre Harpie Channeler era of Yu-Gi-Oh! And we don't like to talk about those dark ages for Harpie decks, because who boy, should have gave us a tuner. Anyway, tuner and gave us Cyber Slash at that point. But things that I can agree with, not too many things, because it literally just reading this article is just like, you try to build a competitive deck for a deck that does not need all of this additional stuff to be competitive, where there is consistency in it. But I don't think you've tested this. Not at all. Because consistency would also mean that you have consistency all over the board. Because one thing Harpies do lack is, we don't have a lot of cards that really benefit the draw power like we would want to, or at least extending more draws. We don't have anything in relative to the Cyber Dragon that we all want, because we definitely do want a Cyber Dragon as monster to be able to settle some of this stuff. We're having to rely on cards like Unexpected Dai. And then, of course, the big one was the searcher for the cards that have Hysteric in their name, simply because of the fact that they would be able to be searched out. If anything, I think most people have said they would rather have a card that could search out for cards that have Harpie mentioned in their name, similar to how Harpie Lady Sisters had the cards that say this card, add a card to your hand or deck that would specifically list the Harpie Lady Sisters. So if we did ever get cards that would particularly say mention Harpie Lady in it, or card spells or tries to specifically miss Harpie in its text or in its name, then that would be great too, just because we'd have the utility for it. But there are a lot of pros and cons to this. I do have to say, at least give you that for, because you attempted to build a deck to survive for competitive play, but I also want to say you did not really think this through, because there's a lot of things that I honestly would say need to definitely be fixed. The one thing that I say wouldn't have to be fixed is just the choice of Harpie Channeler and Harpie Perfumer, just simply because Harpie Channeler is your summoner monk, Harpie Perfumer is easily your searcher for your spells and traps that would simply list Harpie Lady Sisters as text. But you don't run enough of these there, I would have at least stand strong to say, yeah, we definitely need like 3-3. Because if you're only running one ego, one hunting ground, that's still not enough. And even if with Sign's effect, you're going to need a lot of things to help recover and build up that balance. This is why Harpie Oracle was created, to help with that. Now, moving on from them. Now, I'm going to have to disagree on this point, which was the triple Harpies pet dragon Fearsome Fire. It is a player's preference if you want to run the additional dragon. If you don't want to run sisters, because I'll stand by this and defend Harpie Lady sisters. They're your only other target for Elegant Egotist, and I don't understand why you're not running, considering the fact that a lot of our newer cards were created to support Harpie Lady sisters, because Harpie Lady sisters have not had anything to mitigate the lack of support that they truly need in a retrain that they desperately need. Because that was also another thing that people have talked about. Birdface, Harpie Girl, and Harpie Lady sisters definitely do need to retrain. Now, if anything else to that, I mean, at this point, yeah, you can rock out with the dragon if you want to, but I normally rock out with 2 dragon and a Harpie Lady sister, just because of the utility that you can at least get from the Harpie Lady sister. Alright, moving from there, the one of the Harpies, I feel like if that is ever the case, there's no need to run triple dragon if you're only running 2 Harpists. The Dancer and the Queen are relatively here just to play for a show. These should have at least been an Oracle, because you can get more out of Oracle than I've gotten out of Queen and Dancer since Oracle was released. And even more so now with all these high-level Harpie monsters, these are just more extended plays that you can easily play around with. It makes no sense why she's not in here, really. And that Harpie Harpist is at 1. It's just frugal. Anyway, moving on from that, of course, is the bigger disappointment, and that's the only 2 copies of Harpie Lady that you're running. Harpies are known for swarming. Harpies have Elegant Egotist. Why are we not swarming? There is no reason why there is not a bigger swarm with Harpie Lady, especially considering you're running 2 Unexpected Dai. Are you, like, matching up the one Harpie Lady for the other Harpie Lady? I get that, but you'll always need a third in case something happens. And if you're running Small World, so I really don't understand why there's not a triple copy of Harpie Lady 1, especially if you don't want the Harpie Lady. I mean, a Harpie Lady 1. I've been having Harpie Lady 1 on my brain because she's actually still a relatively good one. And I think, honestly, she could even be an addition to this. Have Harpie Lady 1, Harpie Lady, and Harpie Lady, and then easily be able to search for these. Oh, you're right. Harpie Lady. Excuse me. And get benefits of just having a beat stick. So. And then everyone's preference for hand traps is perfectly fine, but Droll and Lockbird is just not cutting it. There has to be some more to help out with Droll and Lockbird than just simply locking you and your opponent out from getting cards from your deck outside of the draw phase. Because it's literally the only thing that you're really surviving is that you're stopping your opponent from doing searches, which most of your deck can easily do when it's negating or it's redirecting stuff. Now, we're going to move on from there. Then we're going to talk about the spells. I don't have much to say negative about the triple sign, because that's a given. But I do have an issue with is this one Elegant Egotist, because this should be multiple ego. Your deck swarms. Your deck means disadvantages to swarm. You have no recovery to get this back, except for sign. Because if sign ever got negated, then what are you really going to do? You're going to need something to get it back, even if it's at the way to the interface. So then it definitely needs to be at more than just a 1. Not sorry. Definitely needs to be at a 1. At more than 1. I don't really care too much for the Hunting Ground and Duster, because either way, both of these are just background removal. But if you want an additional target off of Harpist, besides running Harpies by the rest, then I think that should most likely be just pawned to it. But, yeah, to each his own with that. Now, let's go into the nitty-gritty, because we need to talk about every expensive card in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game does not need to be in every deck. Small World is one of them, and then we'll move on to Pot of Prosperity in that same sense. Just because we have an extra deck does not mean we need to start digging through our extra deck, because Harpies have a utilization of their extra deck that is actually needed for whatever situation that we have in the build. So, yeah, there is definitely a lot going on with the Harpie build. Like, it literally is. There's a lot going on in the Harpie build that Prosperity and Small World just won't help out with that. I've always been against Small World being in Harpies because you're minusing 2 to add a card. And it's not just a small card. No, like, you're literally having to get rid of a card in your hand to search your deck for a card with either the same level, attribute, attack, defense, or type. So you're really giving yourself there, and then getting a card to your hand by banishing another card from your deck that shares something similar to the one you're about to banish. So you're literally losing 2 cards out for 1 card where you could just have draw power. And even in Pot of Prosperity, I don't consider draw power. I consider it more to be a search card, which I would prefer Pot of Prosperity over Duality. But then there's Wanderies, and they use both. So yeah, that is just that whole sequence there for them. So I'm moving these 2 out of the way. Because no, I don't recommend either of them for Harpies. And if that was ever the case, I would probably recommend Prosperity over Small World, because you're not going to lose out of things that you can't get back. Because remember, Harpies don't have a way to get back banished cards. They don't. Like, not at all. Unexpected Dai, I mean, that's simply just because you're running the Harpie Lady one. The vanilla Harpie Lady. The only issue I have with that in its toll is that, yeah, this is meant for a normal monster. And even at that point, the whole issue of the Cyber Dragon thing still comes up, is that we really do need a Cyber Dragon for the Harpies, so that we don't have to continue to run Unexpected Dai and vanilla Harpie Lady one just for that. Or we can probably just, shuffle it in. That would also be a good thing too. I know there's some of the Tengi cards. I can even opt to using that too. And then the Call by the Grave, that's just for negation of things, and that can always be used. It sucks that card's still at 1. Then we move on to the traps. Triple Storm, perfectly fine, because it's Storm. There's literally no negative to this. My biggest gripe with this doesn't come from Storm. My biggest gripe actually comes from, there is no need for Triple Party when you don't run that many Harpie monsters in your extra deck. Your graveyard. Besides the 1 Conductor, the 2 Cyber Slashes, there's no need for 3. You can easily run 2. You don't have nothing to search for this. You're searching this out through Pot of Prosperity, because you can't get it from Small World. Because Small World gets monsters, not spells and traps. So this is literally just you're gonna brick this at one point. You're gonna brick these. This is something you don't want to break. You want to have some utility to it, but yeah, and you can't even get this off the Trap Trick, because that's the other card I want to talk about. And I don't hate Trap Trick, but I have issues with Trap Trick, because Trap Trick, when it gets it yet again, you're banishing your cards to go get a card, and especially when you're banishing cards that you need a multiple of and you want the utility of. Because literally that's what you're doing when you're hurting yourself with this. And then you can't play any cards. So you have to chain stuff to this. This is just, this was not a build. This is just something, like I said, I would not recommend this, because a lot of people have also took it out Trap Trick because of the issue of, I'm going to lose a Feather Storm to go get a Feather Storm, and I have to pop things with my Feather Storm. And even then that becomes a problem. So yeah, no. No Triple Party, and there's no need for Trap Trick. And if anything, you want more negation. You want some utility of things. So Imperm and stuff, I would definitely suggest running in there too. Alright, I done cut through the extra deck. The main deck. Let's go into the extra. Not too much gripe there. I think one of the big things is, of course, just there aren't too many options for Heavis Vulgar, the Desperate Doom Eagle. This is kind of the only thing we can run right now, because some work is still banned. And it is just the utility of things that you take advantage of. As for, this is not IP. This is IP, but we all know the issue with, SP Little Knight is that it's very expensive right now. If you can manage to pull one, more spirit to you. You pulled one, congrats. Yeah, you pulled a $100 card that actually is pretty good. It is a really good card, I will say that, but it is a secret rare, and that is its only problem. Because outside of this, if there were if it was printed in a lower rarity, and I'm looking at this price gouge, yeah, no, this is literally the only thing I honestly have to say is the problem with it, because everything else in the deck is perfectly fine. You legitimately just have an issue of this extra deck monster just being literally the most essential part of it, And that's literally it. Everything else is perfectly fine. Like your Chidoris, your like all your utilities for your Exceed monsters are perfectly fine because I've always said this. Harpies have one of the best engines to get into either a rank 4 or a rank 7 monster with ease. And then on top of that, you can just slap a double Azus Sky Thunder on top of it and then just call it a day. Hell, you can even throw Typhoons in here too if you can get to Typhoons. But no, I honestly have to say, yeah, I'm not a big fan of this build. This is something that I honestly would say I would not recommend. There are better versions of it. There are a lot of Harpie content creators that I would definitely suggest running some of their builds with little niches to them as well. But yeah, the small world thing is not needed, especially if you're not starving for a hand trap that bad. When you have utility to a good portion of things in your archetype, like you will be fine. But it's just like, yeah, there's just too many little small things that no, you have better things too. But that's my opinions on it. And my biggest thing is never call anything the best of, especially not with this deck. No, because there'll be a lot of people who will rip this apart. But let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below. Do you think Mr. Peterson had something going, or do you think that this definitely is a deck that does not fit that title? It needs to go to the drawing board, because I'll say it needs to go to the drawing board. But let me know what you guys think about it. I will leave a link to it in the description box below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, because it helps me out tremendously. Hit the notification bell if you guys want to be informed of when I upload more content. If you guys would like me to look at other variations of Harpie decks or other variations of decks that I play, you can leave those in the comment section below as well. Social media links, they're in the description box below, and I will catch you all next time. HBJ signing out. Take care.